What's up, guys? Jaxx the Bearded Hiker here. Today I'm going to be cooking you guys up some Swiss steak with tomatoes and cream. And I'm getting the recipe from this book right here. It's an awesome book. It's called The Great Big Pressure Cooker Book. I'll leave a link in the description where you can get it off Amazon if you want to. If not, as usual, you can go to my website and get a printable version of this recipe at www.thebeardedhiker.com. So let's get busy! Alright guys, so let's go over this ingredient list. You're going to need some dry red wine. You're going to need some diced tomatoes, some fresh garlic, some salt and pepper, and some heavy cream. And you're going to need some fresh oregano. Now, in the recipe it says do not skimp and use fresh, but if you have dry, use it, but if you can get fresh, do it. 2 pounds of the original recipe calls for bottom round. I'm using cube steak. Why? Well, that's just how we roll here at thebeardedhiker.com. So let's get this stuff thrown together. Alright guys, so the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and turn your pressure cooker on the browning setting. Add a little bit of olive oil in the bottom here, and salt and pepper your meat, and we're going to start browning that up. And if you have a partner, you can have part of it done in here and the other part on the stove, but you want to make sure you at least cook a little bit, if not all, of your meat in here, because we're going to be using that croûte that forms on the bottom of this pan. Croûte, if you don't know what croûte is, it's just the drippings and all that brown goodness that happens on the bottom of this thing when you brown something. Alright, our olive oil is nice and heated up, and so I didn't show you, but you can see I've salt and peppered my meat. Go ahead and lay those in there. Alright guys, real quick, I'm going to show you tossing these, turning these. That's what you want right there. Alright, now guys, we've browned up all our meat and we've removed it, and now we're going to throw in our garlic. And we're going to just saute this garlic on for about maybe 1 minute, just enough to get some aromatics going here. Alright, so that was literally like 20 seconds. Now we're going to pour in our wine and deglaze all that brown goodness in there. Alright guys, so we're still going. Now what we want to do is, after we've deglazed, I'm going to try to say this real fast because we're steaming up here, but we want to reduce this wine by half, okay? Alright guys, we've reduced this by half, okay? So now we're going to add our tomatoes. And we're going to add our fresh oregano here. Give it a stir. Now let's add all of our meat in. Oh yeah. Looking good. Okay, now don't forget to do this, guys. All that goodness, go on and pour that in there. Alright guys, so now we've got all our meat in there. Now we're going to put the lid on it. We're going to set it to high, our pressure cooker to high. And we're going to set the time for 30 minutes. Alright, so once it gets to pressure, you're going to let the pressure come down naturally. And what I would recommend is just unplug your pressure cooker, because you don't want your pressure cooker to go to the keep warm setting after it's done. Alright, we'll show you what it looks like when after 30 minutes. Alright guys, we have came to pressure and we've let it release on its own. So now, next step is we're going to remove the meat. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to set our pressure cooker back to the browning setting. We got to plug it in first. And now that we've set that to our browning setting, we're going to go ahead and stir in our cream. And then once we get to a simmer, we're going to simmer it for about 1 minute. All right, you see we're simmering. We just started, so we're going to do that. Simmer this for 1 minute. All right, guys, let's do this. I have not tasted this yet, so I'll give you my reaction. Smells freaking delectable. That's good. Pretty good. So, I will say this about the cube steak, I think. The cube steak is giving it more of a, almost like a hamburger texture. I like that, but I could see why it would be good to use, you know, a bottom round, and it would be more of a roasty. But I would call this a keeper. Swiss steak in the pressure cooker. Do it.